Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Did you know that when you wake up in the morning, your spine is around 20% more hydrated than it is for the rest of the day? This means that some people can wake up and feel a lot stiffer in the mornings because our spines are less tolerable to load and dynamic movement when we first get up. So having a nice little subtle routine that gets your spine moving gently can prepare your body just to move better throughout the day and to be able to function and load more efficiently. So I'm Naomi, and I've got over 20 years of experience in the fitness and health industry working with athletes and rehabilitation. And, I'm just really passionate about people learning to move better and have movement throughout their life. So, being able to live long and be strong. So let's start down on the mat, and we're going to spread our fingers and we're going to be in a 4-point position. So instead of just going straight into a cat-cow, what we're going to do is we're just going to subtly move the pelvis, just rocking it forward and back, trying to keep our knees directly sort of under our hips, not or slightly behind even, not too far forward, and our hands under our shoulders, making sure we're not sinking our chest. So we're just going to push our chest away from the floor, tuck our chin in, find that nice neutral position without rounding the back and pushing and rounding our chest. We're trying to keep a broad chest. Then suddenly just rocking the pelvis backwards and forwards. And this really subtle movement, if you're doing it really relaxedly and not trying to be forceful or jammy, you should feel a subtle sort of release of lower back muscles and a subtle engagement of deep core muscles. Now, you're only going to feel that if you subtly rock, and as you draw the pelvis under, you relax your belly. So just make sure that you're not tensing and tightening the tummy, because that actually jams the lower back instead of releasing it. So we're just going to do a few more here and just breathing. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pause in the middle, just in that nice neutral position there. And all I want you to do now is try to round the lower and the upper body together, but just carefully don't let your head drop down too much. So you're going to look just maybe at your fingertips, and then you're going to open your chest and look forward. So instead of looking up, just look forward so that your neck stays long. Now we're rounding the upper and lower body together. And again, as we do this, it's not about being forceful. It's super relaxed. So we're trying to relax the body as much as possible so that we're not using force. Because when we use force, we actually jam the spine. So let's just try to start by just relaxing the belly. Relaxing the breath is important here. And breathe. Press out of those hands and breathing. Try to notice on your hands where your weight is, because it's really important that you're evenly distributed. So through the palm, the heel, the fingers, yeah, and the tips of the fingers, so that the whole hand is taking weight. Good. One more. Then you're going to come back to the middle and hold it. And all I want you to do now is try to lift one hand off the ground and bring it up and back down, like you're pulling that hand up towards your shoulder and really pressing out of that supporting hand. And when you do this, you want to make sure you're not shifting your weight to the opposite side. So as you lift the hand, you're going to feel, so if I'm lifting my right hand, I'm going to feel my right knee press into the mat. I'm going to lift that elbow high, take a breath, and then bring it back down. So even though I'm doing an arm movement here and I can feel my core muscles engaging, what I'm actually doing is adding a little bit of subtle rotation in my upper body, but without forcing it, because I'm just adding the movement of the arm. The elbow goes high and back down. Let's do one more on this side. So we're going to lift that elbow, getting a nice subtle rotation of that upper body and down. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. We're going to go up, little subtle rotation. So I'm not thinking about twisting my body. I'm thinking about pressing that left knee into the floor, making sure I don't shift to the right, and lifting my left elbow up to the ceiling while I open my left shoulder. And those points are all going to create a subtle rotation. And breathing, making sure I don't hold my breath. And down. Good. One more. Breathing up and back down. Now, I'm going to curl my toes under and sit back gently towards my heels. Now, if your knees are bad and you can't really sit back like that, you can put a cushion between your calf and your thighs so that you can sit back on the cushion, and then reach your arms out in front. So I'm looking for here a really kind of lengthened spine, so nothing that's rounded like that in the lower back. So you're going to poke your bottom out behind you like that. Reach your hands and fingers forward and try not to let your head rest on the ground like this. So you're going to lift your head up and look just towards your thumbs, making sure your shoulders are drawing down towards your hip bones. So you're pulling your shoulder blade towards the hip. You're going to hold this position and just look to your hands. Then from here, you're going to curl your upper back and look to your knees like this. Then you're going to open your chest and look to your fingertips. So we're going to breathe and curl. So you might find here as you do this movement that you can actually feel quite a big stretch and also a bit of effort in the back of the arms and the shoulders. And that's okay because that's all connected to our upper back posture and our upper spine. And then open, look at those fingers. And again, just breathing, curl and open. One more. Curl, getting a bit of flexion and extension. Now, we're going to sit a bit further back onto the heels, and again, only resting back as far as you can if you can keep that lower back long, so no kind of rounded lower backs. Lengthened out, use the cushions if you need for a bit of support. Then you're going to walk both your hands to the left side of your mat and just allow yourself to come into a stretch here. So you're walking them across. The stretch is going to be, if we're walking to the left, the stretch is on the right side. And you're just slowly going to hold this stretch. Then you're going to look under your left arm and look under your right arm. So doing a little bit of a rock here, so it's a slight rotation. But again, remember this is relaxed. So it's not a tense or strong, movement, but just breathing and relaxing. Last one. And then slowly walk across to the other side. Let yourself just relax into that stretch. Breathing and then just letting yourself have that little bit of movement there. And again across, under. Good, breathing through it. Good, and back to the middle. Good, and then just slowly rolling it all the way up. Really nice. That's your morning routine that you can do, and you can do it every day. You can do it in the middle of the day or the afternoon. If you have any questions, then please drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. There's obviously lots of different types of subtle movements that you can do for your spine, and this is just one example.